David A. Castro here from BrooklynBlessing.com, the prophet from the projects, talking this week on Pertinent Prophecies. We spoke about what time it is on last week in a series of extraordinary visions that talk about what is God saying for the current hour. What season are we in? And it is out of this world, glorious, positive. You gotta hear it, gotta hear it. It is now on YouTube in 3 videos. What time it is part 1, what time it is part 2, what time it is part 3. Now we're talking about pertinent prophecies. Again, revelations upon revelations, prophetic dreams, visions, revelations that the Lord has given me. I occasionally mention a revelation from the Lord to someone else, such as to Kenneth E. Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, or some other anointed vessel, a dream or vision that someone may have had, a prophetic utterance, things that are of God and that complement and confirm what God has shown me. Mostly what I share is what God has shown me. And I'm finding that what God has shown me is more specific, more detailed, more elaborate, and more untainted than what I'm hearing from what other people are saying. Like, for example, look, last year, Copeland confirmed that Obama would be re-elected president and that it would be a good thing. But he didn't mention his name. He did not mention the president's name when he mentioned that he was going to be re-elected. That's not too cool. Then he made it just a bit vague so that some people had question marks over their heads in the congregation. So again, that's not cool. And he also waited all the way until just 1 month before the election to give that word. Again, that's not cool. So I imagine that someone like Copeland that knew, that knows the Lord, knows how to hear from God. I'm sure he knew what God was saying with regard to the election, the presidential election of November 2012. So why did he wait so long to let the people know that Obama would win re-election and that it would be a good thing and that it would be something that God would bless? He said, you're going to like the outcome of the election even though it's not going to be what you think. Why be vague? And why wait till 1 month before the election? If it were me, I would have sounded that trumpet clearly and without vaguity whatsoever. Clearly, specifically, with passion and with no doubt. And I would do it from the time that I know it's of God, months in advance. In my case, it was years in advance. That's the way you're supposed to prophesy it. Come on, why hide the thing from the people? Why play with the people? Why try to control the sentiments and the choices of the people? So that control business, I'm sorry, I'm not down with that. I know nothing, I do nothing. I simply am here with the Lord. He reveals, I speak, it's undeniable, it comes to pass. That just happens to be my reputation. Accuracy in the prophetic. Accuracy in the prophetic happens to be my reputation. Hey, I ain't hating, I ain't dissing, I'm just saying, hey. Same thing with Kim Clement. Kim Clement is a man of God. Kim Clement is a prophet of God. God uses Kim Clement. But why all the extra stuff surrounding prophetic words, and why the vaguity, and why the... I don't know. I guess I'm just too raw. I guess I'm just too exact. I just want to tell it just exactly like it is without anything extra and without my own sentiments in it. Forgive me for being too plain. But at least those that want the pure, clear, undeniable, unbiased, untainted truth At least they have somewhere where they can go. They will get nothing from David A. Castro except divine revelation that's not secondhand, and it'll be plain and clear and undeniable. And it'll come with teaching, with clarification, with articulation, with interpretation, with explanation, and with kindness, and with accuracy from one who just happens to have a reputation in the prophetic, a reputation of being accurate. All the glory be to God. So how it is that masses follow this prophet and that other prophet who happen to be of this other form of ministry, even when their words don't come to pass and their advice, I don't know how that happens. But here I am, being a real seer, a real prophet, a real extreme prophetic, and I doesn't know where the people are that really want to know the real, just nothing but the real. So anyway, here I am. Now, Oral Roberts got some words from the Lord a few years ago. I believe it was 2004, when he was being divinely visited for a season of 2 or 3 weeks, and he got this message and messages from the Lord that he calls the wake-up call vision. Inside of that series of visions, nearly a decade ago, one of the visions that he saw was 2 ships, and one was passing the other. He described one ship as being the current ideology, the current church structure that includes doctrine and the postures of the right-wing Christian church. And he affirmed that, he supported that, he believed in that, and he held to that, and hopes that other Christian believers would hold to that. He said, but there's this other ship which is threatening this, and that other ship came from behind and surpassed and overtook the first ship. And the second ship that came from behind and overtook was one that would challenge and topple and override and overcome and overshadow and change the structure and the postures and the stability of the first ship, so that it would be more progressive, it would be more of a challenge to the status quo, and obviously right-wing Republican, Christian, conservative groups would want to hold to those pillars that they consider sacred and biblical, and the doctrine of the fathers and the forefathers, and so on and so forth. And so this second ship seemed to challenge that and topple and actually overtake that. And Oral Roberts said that that was disdainful, that was the enemy, and that was something we need to pray against. Now, I've got to share here an explanation that will teach, that will educate the hearer. We have heard and we understand that a revelation can be of God, truly divine, truly inspired of God, but our own thinking, our own emotions, and our own prejudices can inform the interpretation. And the interpretation, consequently, can be carnal and not of God, not exact. So that we can interpret something the way we understand it, but the revelation itself can be of God. So flesh is added to the revelation. So if we have dreams and visions, and let me tell you, people have said they have had dreams and visions. First of all, it's very hard to believe certain people. But even those who are believable, even those who actually have had revelations from the Lord about America's falling and difficulties happening in America and crises coming in the politics, the economy, and what have you, even those revelations that people have gotten that may be inspired by God can still be being interpreted with a fleshly understanding. Because if a person has a certain a belief system that they hold sacred and they don't want that to change, if change is coming, and change is a good thing, but a person doesn't want the change that's coming, then they're going to interpret in a negative way a revelation from the Lord that may really be from the Lord that is showing that change is coming. So if we dream or get from the Lord that change is coming, if we can remove our own personal opinions, we might be able to say, well, Lord, is this change going to be good? Oral Roberts interpreted those two ships as being a challenge to the current status quo, and it was that. But he interpreted it as being a disdainful overtaking. I'm saying he was wrong there. His revelations were of God, but his interpretations were tainted with his own positions. And I can prove that. Because when God showed me about the collapsing of conventions, many times he has shown me, since 2008, 2009, but specifically in 2009 he showed me the word convention crumbling little by little as the glory of God was shining in space over the island of Manhattan and the rest of the earth. And I saw the Statue of Liberty, which represents liberation, deliverance, and freedom. So the collapse and crumbling of convention and conventional ways of thinking, conventional political goings-on, political ideologic machines, the toppling and redesigning, reconstruction of them is ultimately a good thing, even though there will be negative aspects to these occurrences, the toppling, because toppling, it could obviously have some negative implications. But then that there is edification from the Holy Spirit is ultimately our wish and our hope. And so, the toppling, the crumbling, the collapsing of conventions nowadays being a work from the Holy Ghost, when Oral Roberts saw the ship behind overtaking the ship in front, he interpreted that as the toppling of the current status quo, including doctrine and, same-sex marriage and a number of ideologies that pertain to the Western Christian Church, which are good and have been good, but if God is welcoming a redesign, a reconstruction, a redoing of this set of ideas, then we've got to affirm that and permit that, and Oral Roberts did not and would not. He said we have to pray against this toppling. But I'm saying, but it's the toppling of the Lord. It is the toppling of the Lord. It is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. But in Oral Roberts' eyes, it was not marvelous. He said it was something we have to pray against. Well, he and many others, Franklin Graham, Billy Graham, and so many others of the conservative Christian ministers and pillars, I don't want to say ideologues because, it has a negative connotation. I want to affirm them. I want to bless and honor the ministers who indeed are icons, are great men and women of God that God has used for decades, that they can't see that a redesign of certain things nowadays is a work of the Lord. Well, that's disdainful. It's only because they just can't see it because they see it as a threat to their current securities. But I can only wish and pray that they would be sincere and pliable in the hand of the Lord, and that they would welcome the new, never mind the implications. But no, they're not finding it easy to do. So therefore they are holding on to, as if for dear life, to those old structures, and they're not enjoying life, and they're not enjoying ministry. They're not enjoying the new, the fresh that God is permitting. I am. So I'm seeing that change is coming about. I'm seeing that conventions are toppling. I'm seeing that America is undergoing a change, but America has always been going under changes since her inception. So change can be bad, change can be good. When changes come, they include bad elements and they include good elements. So ultimately we have to say, but what does God say? Is it a good thing? Is it a doing of God? As long as as long as it is, and it is, we have to say amen, welcome it, and go with the flow, that we may be blessed and permit the blessing of God. Okay, I have said some things now that are clear and good. I'm wondering who understands what in the heck is David A. Castro talking about. Oral Roberts' vision of 2004, parts of his vision, what they were, what they mean, how he interpreted it, and what the truth is. So he is fallible. And hey, he's, him as an icon has already gone down in my eyes and in the eyes of many. Never mind that he's a great Christian icon of our time, the late great Oral Roberts. He already began to go down in our eyes and no longer be the icon that he has been for decades because of his posture against homosexuality. He sent his son to hell. He said, "You're gonna go to hell. Do you understand that you're gonna go to hell because you are gay?" His son committed suicide. Then now his nephew is gay and has said things reporting that Oral Roberts is unkind or was unkind to the community. So that God is kinder and has shown me he was going to do some favors to this community across the nation over the last 5-6 years. He showed me several times. I said, okay. And I've begun to look at that community in a new light with new grace, new kindness, and new hope for them, so that I'm glad that I can communicate with that community in a way that Oral Roberts, this great, amazing, great man of God, for so many decades, just could not. And this is just right where the rubber meets the road with regard to Christianity. Christianity is ultimately, you got to treat people in a Christ-like way. He was so awesome and Christ-like in so many ways, but that he came short in one of the fundamental things of human interaction and Christ-likeness, that's so disappointing. So, the icons have fallen, and Jesus is still Lord, and he's still having his way, because change has come, change is coming, and change is here, and it's all good. So they are now dinosaurs, and that's okay. They did their thing. God blessed them. But now we need a new generation of leaders and stuff. And I am here to be a spearheader of the new and the fresh, and I am here for you. I am the prophet from the projects. God bless.